You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, hosted by Joey and Holly Baird. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is on the air, and it's heard on WNOV 860 AM and W293CX 106.5 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WWDB 860 AM in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WAAM 1600 AM and 92.7 FM Ann Arbor, Michigan, and KMET 1490 AM Banning, California. Coming up on the program today, we're going to go over houseplants, ones that would be recommended to have in your home, not only just during winter, but all year round. And the importance of covering your soil and what can happen when you leave your soil exposed to the elements. Seed expert Teri Chace will be with us. She's also an author. Plus, we'll answer your garden questions, and that all starts right now. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. So glad you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program, whether you're in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Southeast Michigan, or listening anywhere via the Simple Radio app or the TuneIn app or through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com website underneath the radio tab. We're so happy you've joined us, whether it's on podcast replay or in-studio video replay. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
You can find all of our information at that website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, where it now contains over 1,500 garden videos, as well as you can find our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media contacts there. The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is Power Planter.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and the spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA. We offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com. We now have the DeWalt drills on our site. Power Planter is now a distributor of DeWalt drills and offer 3 different drills to meet whatever need the customer might have. Our website also suggests what drills are recommended for what size auger.
You got a job, they got an auger, and they got a drill that matches that. You want to get a hold of us, you can do that a variety of different ways. They're all part of the Ivy Organics communication hotline.
Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields prune and damaged surfaces, for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic and environmentally safe and organic. For more information, visit ivyorganics.com. You can send us an email through the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant email inbox. The email address is twvgshow@gmail.com, or you can also send us a text on the Instant Access Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline. Send your questions to 414-368-9311. Again, the number is 414-368-9311.
House plants are something that many people may have or may not have, and we're going to go over several of them that would be recommended in order for you to have in your home in order to better purify the air and make life a little easier for you.
So definitely houseplants do add something to your home. And one I want to talk about here is aloe. And it's great for increasing the oxygen in your home. And it can absorb the carbon dioxide and the carbon monoxide. And you can replace air purifiers with an aloe plant. You won't have, obviously, the same air circulation. But aloe plants do help absorb the toxicity in the air a bit. But one thing I want to mention about aloe is aloe juice. If you grow aloe, you want to juice it. You can, if you drink it, it becomes a natural laxative. And it also helps your digestion. So it's kind of like a twofer with that plant. You have a house plant, but you also can, you can drink it, essentially, juice the what's it called? The leaves, the plant.
The plant juice, yeah, that's what it. So what is another thing another house plant in which would be recommended possibly if you are going to look in the avenue of house plants?
So another one is the ficus, and this plant does not need a lot of light, which a lot of people like because that way you can put it in a corner. But the leaves might be poisonous, so if you have pets or small children that might eat the leaves, then that's a little bit more not exactly the most friendly plant. ficus trees are common in the home, but they can be a little bit finicky, so you would have to kind of look up how to care for a ficus.
Ficus, larger plant, I believe, is it not?
It can get larger, yeah. That's correct.
Let's look at ivy. Ivy is something many people have and maybe are not even aware that it is an ivy plant that they can have in their home. But this is kind of, if you're going to pick one, this is probably the go-to plant.
So ivy would be definitely a good bathroom plant. I know that sometimes you'll see it in bathrooms of professional buildings. And the reason for that is because it will remove feces particles from the air and 60% of the toxins in the air. It's also something that looks nice because it does drape around, it grows. So if you have an area where maybe you want to have it drape, and as it grows, continues to grow, you can make it look nice, not just a plant, but also kind of an interior design element. Now, with any of these plants, you want to figure out the recommended light requirements. You just can't stick them in a corner of a bathroom, as you indicated with the ivy, and it be dark most of the year. So you want to be able to keep that in mind as well. Now, spider plant is a really cool plant, and it does a lot of benefits here. A lot of these plants, all of these plants, have a certain level of cleansing, toxicity removal capabilities in your home. So if you've ever, it's probably the most popular of the easiest to grow hanging plants or trailing plants. So it's got the trails and the hanging. So if you have like an upper corner somewhere, you can grow it. It does photosynthesize under very minimal light, and it does also absorb the toxins from air as carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, gasoline, and styrene. Now, spider plant, it's named because it has the characteristics of when it's draping and cascading over the pot, like little spiders hanging down. So that's where that name comes from. So then there's the snake plants. It's called the Sansevieria. I think I said that right. And it's a hardy indoor plant that you can grow just about anywhere. And it is a great house plant. I think it's also called mother-in-law's tongue. The way it shoots up, I think that's kind of the not so well-known name, or maybe well-known name for it. And it's also nice because it can perform photosynthesis under minimal light as well. And that's why these are all good house plants, because, yes, they do need a little bit of light, but it's not like a tomato plant where it needs full sun 8 hours a day in your home. There are different plants that are house plants that do require that kind of requirement of light. And it does produce a lot of oxygen, especially at night, so that's something that is fun. And yeah, so you want the oxygen. That's another reason to have houseplants is, one, it brings some green, provides oxygen, it filters the air, and it's just nice to have around. And some of these plants, like I have a plant on my desk, I think it's called a Caletheia, and what it does is it opens and closes. The leaves actually roll up and then open up. Right, kind of like the palms of your hand, more open than to more closed. Now, to most gardeners or vegetable gardeners, if you see that in a plant, that means the plant is requiring water or it's very stressed. In this instance, that is the characteristics of the natural growth cycle of that plant. Right, they call it the living plants because how you can see the process, and what it is, it's just for light is all it is. And actually, when I first started noticing that, I thought it needed more water, and then I looked it up, and then I realized that it's doing that because it's absorbing light, and then it's closing up to kind of go to sleep. It's got enough light. It's done what it needs to do. It prefers, the morning light. So it's kind of a neat plant. It freaks my coworkers out sometimes. They're like, your plant moves throughout the day, and I'm like, yes, that is what it does. That's kind of one way to keep the coworkers away from you when they have a plant. You have a plant that's moving around on your desk. Right. Leaves, not physical pot moving with legs. Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a fun plant. And then there's also peace lilies. Peace lily is another very common house plant, and they are easy to grow. Most of the varieties can grow about 16 inches high, is about the tallest, but they can be larger if cultivated and taken care of. Again, it removes toxins from the air, and it also can remove other bad things in the air, not just the toxins. Also creates oxygen for you in your home. Now, in the cultivated period, it can get up to 6 foot tall.
So it can be a very large plant if you allow it to get to that height in your home.
That could be interesting.
6 foot tall plant. You know, some people have these in the corner of their family room next to a large window that will do quite well.
A lot of people like peace lilies, or they're giving us gifts at times because of the peace element. Mm-hmm. So there's that also. Another cool thing about aloe, and I don't know
going back to the aloe plant here for a moment? Okay.
I kind of missed this earlier. And I don't know why we don't grow an aloe plant. We had one.
You can put it on burns.
Right. What happened to our aloe plant?
It didn't make it. I don't know. I don't remember us having an aloe plant.
We had one.
Okay. Well, we'll discuss that aspect later.
You can use it as an alternative to mouthwash. So what you would do is you can put it on your gums and then kind of like move it around and then spit it out.
We're not chewing it up, or
no, like put on your gums. It can help relieve bleeding or swollen gums.
But you don't want to consume it as you don't want to swallow it.
I mean, you can consume it, but you probably just want to, since you're using it as a mouthwash. Mm-hmm. Mouthwash usually to remove like toxins or grossness on your teeth and gums. You'd want to spit that out, yeah. But it's definitely a very useful plant. So if you want to grow aloe,
and there's many varieties in which of aloe that you can get. I remember, growing up, we had an aloe plant, and when we got a burn, we would take and break part of the leaf structure off, and then use the oils or the juices in the aloe plant to rub on the wound of the burn.
Right. So there's that as well, and you don't have to go far to find a house plant. They sell them usually at most big box stores, grocery stores, all sorts of places.
You have to look pretty hard not to be able to find one in your area.
Right. But if you do want to pick out the right house plant for you, you might want to go to your local independent garden center that sells the house plants, and that way you can always ask questions, read labels. They might have a larger variety, so that way you can check that out and find your ideal house plant.
Well, that's just a variety of houseplants in which we would recommend if you're looking at something to get over the winter to keep some green going in your home. There's some houseplants. Well, when we come back, it's going to be about feeding or covering the soil and why it's important to cover your soil over the winter months. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
24/7, 365. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com has all the gardening information you need, videos, digital magazines, replays of shows, and more.
Here at Outpost Natural Foods, it's not just that we're community-owned that sets us apart. It's the fabulous foods we sell. We celebrate Earth Day every day by offering our customers the finest natural and organic food selections in Greater Milwaukee. Outpost local farmers and vendors provide our stores with a delicious selection of fresh seasonal produce that you won't want to miss. Outpost stores are located in Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, Bayview, and Mequon. We're a real Milwaukee original where anyone can shop and anyone can join. For the whole scoop about Outpost, we invite you to visit www.outpost.coop.
Shield and Seal vacuum sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com. Root Assassin, a garden tool that does all the root functions with its advanced shovel that has serrated edges on both sides. Find out more information at rootassassinshovel.com. The Norwalk juicer is the best cold-pressed juicer on the market. Studies have shown the Norwalk juicer produces 50 to 100% more juice than other juicers. And juice from the Norwalk is higher in minerals and nutritionally superior. Not only do you get more juice from your produce, but also better quality juice. Check it out at norwalkjuicers.com. Use coupon code GARDENTALK to get free continental U.S. shipping on the Model 290 juicer.
Never question your garden soil again. Know what's in your soil with confidence. Professional grade soil test for the home gardener. My Soil Savvy has the easiest soil test on the market. Ship it to them, get your report, emailed with nutrients recommendation, and grow happy, healthy plants. MySoilSavvy.com. Use coupon code TWVG19 and save 10% at checkout.
Fall is a time of reflection. This garden tip is sponsored by BioSafe, organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products. From plant food to fertilizer to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Visit biosafe.net to learn more. And save 10% on your next order by using coupon code TWVG at checkout. Fall is the perfect time to see what part of your garden has not done well and to work on it to improve the soil for spring. Add organic matter such as leaves and compost. You can just lay them on top of the ground. You don't have to till them in. They will naturally begin to break down over the winter months. Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow fruit and vegetables all year long. Strongest greenhouses available that will last a lifetime. Beautiful design available in any size and color. Weather resistant, energy efficient to save on that heating cost. Mix and match with glazings to suit your climate. Sturdy and durable, they'll hold up to those heavy snow loads. They'll even add them to homes. For agricultural to lodging to entertaining, it's a great addition to any garden or landscape. Check them out at WisconsinGreenhouseCompany.com.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Blue Mills has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Eco Garden Systems, Row Maker, Shield and Seal, World's Coolest Rain Gauge, Big Fats Hot Sauce, Chapin International, Drip Garden, Norwalk Juicers, Nunu Healing Ointment, Phylum Bioproducts, Soil Savvy, Tree Ripe. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Dr. Earth is committed to clean and healthy gardening through creating cutting-edge, natural, and organic garden-friendly products. Based on research and innovation, after 28 years, they are the leader in the organic lawn and garden industry. They do not use ingredients such as biosolids or composted household waste or synthetic chemicals. Instead, they have manure-free fertilizers, organic soils, insect control, and liquid fertilizers. If you want to grow the best quality food organically to feed your family, that is the founding principles of what Dr. Earth is all about. They have experts to find the most innovative ways to help you grow your best organically. Visit drearth.com for more information and where to buy.
Well, people often do not cover their soil, whether they're grow over the winter or if they've harvested a crop in the spring and they're going to let the soil lay dormant or the bed lay dormant. We're going to go over some reasons why it is important for you to cover your garden soil, whether you've harvested your potatoes and you're going to wait until fall to plant radishes, or as it is currently time that we've harvested many of our crops and now our soil is laid dormant until spring.
So soil cover refers to the vegetation, organic matter, or crop residues on the surface of the soil covering the soil. So let's talk about some soil covers that we could apply. One would definitely be leaves.
And we don't have to worry about the type of leaves. There are some very unique varieties in which would be not good for your garden, but the common varieties in which we have is totally fine, especially maple leaves that have the maple spots. That is not an issue as it's not transferable to your vegetation. Oak leaves, as we spoke about several times on the program, they are large leaves that we would want to break up in some form because they will lay in a giant mat on your soil and prevent moisture from getting to the soil, which is important to the health and well-being of not only the worms, but the microbial life and the nematodes that are in your soil. That is the soil life.
Right. So the leaves, definitely, and then you could use even something like straw.
Straw, just get it from your local independent garden center, based on, or if you know a friendly farmer, you can use that as a covering. You can use chemical-free and seed-free grass clippings. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of those as we get later in the fall. But if you're going to mulch the leaves in your yard, you can bag them up and with the grass clippings and cover your soil. Now, how thick of a mulch should you put on your soil?
You would want to put, I don't know, maybe an inch or two. Now with the leaves, though, if you put them in the fall, you want to pile them up as high as you can.
Yeah, and it's different if we're doing one versus the other. If it's in the spring, just a couple of inches. If it's in the fall and we're not doing anything, and we will not be planting anything through the winter months in the northern portions of the area of the United States where it's super cold, then we can cover them very, very high in the bed.
Right.
Now, the additional thing with covering the soil, if you're going to overwinter root crops such as carrots or Jerusalem artichokes, those are the two predominant. Parsnips is another one. You can cover a very large pile of leaves over that bed, trim back the tops, cover the soil, cover the roots, and what that will accomplish is creating a refrigerator state for that soil. And then you can move the leaves back, harvest the carrots or the parsnips or the Jerusalem artichokes, and then we can cover them back over. So the soil doesn't freeze, but it also leaves those crops in a location as they are in nature, and they will keep much fresher, longer, and better than in the refrigerator in a bag.
Nature. So you can also do cover crops.
Yes.
Typically, something that's going to be higher in nitrogen, even though it doesn't affix the soil's nitrogen. This is a common thing. So things like clover, this is a common cover crop.
Talk about what fixing the nitrogen in the soil is for people who are unfamiliar with that, or the misconception first of all, and then let's talk about how it actually really does work.
Sure. So the plants that are high in nitrogen, they're called the pulse plants. So it's anything from like beans, peas, clover, in that lentil family, that family. What's supposed to happen is that when you look at the roots of those plants, they have these little nodules on them, and there was a theory.
Little tiny balls.
Right, little tiny balls. Yeah. And there's a theory that affixes nitrogen into the soil. That is not true. It's been proven that no matter how much you plant, how long you plant, there might be trace amounts of nitrogen that are affixed into the soil, but nothing that is going to be very heavy or beneficial.
So,
but
with the cover crop,
that's why people would typically grow cover crops, is one, to hold in moisture, and two, to prevent erosion, soil erosion. But they also would think that they're fixing nitrogen into the soil, but they're not. So there's benefits to doing cover crops, such as the moisture, the erosion, and then also just aerating the soil with having those roots growing if you're not growing anything in that particular area, as opposed to just letting the weeds grow.
Which we're all used to that.
Right. So that's the benefit of having a cover crop, but it's typically, as you know, it's with clover.
And with the cover crop, we're not letting these items or these varieties grow to a mature state and bear fruit. We're waiting till they get to a almost flower state, and then we're chopping them off and letting that soil fall. Or
chop and drop.
Chop and drop. Letting those plants fall on the ground, and then as they break down, they will feed the soil in with that nitrogen, the nutrients that the plant has utilized. It's a chop and drop.
Chop and drop.
Yeah, we can do that.
I pay attention to some of your farm talk.
Yeah. Let's talk about, you talked briefly on holding moisture in, which that we all kind of understand that. Erosion prevention. Now, if we let the soil uncover, we just leave it alone until spring or over the summer after, let's say we harvested potatoes and we're going to plant fall peas, but there's a couple of weeks or a month or so duration there, rain, snow in the winter, the wind can all begin to...
So they can remove a lot of the soil.
Yeah, blow it away, wash it away.
Yep, wash it away, especially... we've had a lot of rain this year, and so keeping your crops covered or doing the cover crop is going to help prevent that.
And you'll see this in big agricultural fields. It's very difficult to apply 40 acres of mulch on top of a old cornfield. But you'll see that after a hard rain in the spring, after it's been tilled before planting, you'll see big ditches that have been cut by the water, and all of that topsoil has been washed into the stream and into the river, and that's also taking the chemicals that have been sprayed on that field or the residue that has been lingering from the previous year. And then you have to go in, the farmer has to go in and either one, bounce across those as they are re-tilling the soil or planting, or has to go in there and fill those in order to get the equipment across the field in order to plant or harvest, in some instances, the fields.
Right. So...
And by holding or using a cover crop, or by even just covering with straw or grass or leaves, you're allowing moisture to get into that soil, but also you're preventing that exposure to the environment, the elements of it washing away, blowing away, and also just baking in the sun too.
Right. So then also it invites decomposers into your garden, especially when you're just putting the leaves or the straw. It's going to invite worms and also any other type of decomposition, which is going to build and enrich your soil.
It's not just worms.
But not just worms. But worms is a big example here, especially if you feel like you're lacking worms. Worms will aerate your soil. They bring nutrients from as far as 8 feet deep up into the top part of your soil. They help circulate all of that organic matter, and then they also add their castings, which is basically worm poop, to the soil, and that's healthy for the soil as well.
And there's nematodes and microbes and all of these things that work in harmony in order to break down that compostable items in which you put on the soil, and that compost in which you've mixed into the soil as well.
Right. So that is definitely something you want to consider. The worms aerate the soil as well. Worms are kind of an amazing creature. They're not going to overpopulate their area. You're not going to bring too many in by inviting them with the leaves. But you don't want to add worms from another source. You want to invite them in with the organic matter.
Well, that's some of the ways you can increase the reasons why you want to cover your soil. Well, Holly, summer is over. Football's on TV. The nights are getting colder. The kids are back in school. And you've getting your furnace ready to go, and you have forgotten about your yard. Let's be honest about it, haven't you?
And October baseball.
Yeah.
Well, just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yard. And almost those Japanese beetles, they are still there. They may be gone, but they're not far. They feasted on your roses and berries, but they also laid eggs in your soil. They can start again next year. So take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granule with a spreader, irrigate into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is Grub Gone easy to use, but it is non-toxic. It is the only non-toxic chemical choice that is effective towards controlling grubs. And the best part about this, it's non-toxic to bees and other pollinators and beneficial insects. In fact, Grub Gone has no label restriction for around flowers, plants, so you don't have to remove those dandelions prior to application. For more information, visit PhylumBioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. Do not go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be talking to author Teri Chace about seeds. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
Power Planter is a family-owned earth auger manufacturer. The Power Planter Earth Auger will transform your garden experience. It helps homeowners and professionals complete almost any planting or digging project faster and more efficiently than using a shovel or a spade. Power Planter Earth Auger creates loose dirt when drilling holes, giving your plants better root-to-soil contact to help reduce plant loss for healthier, more beautiful trees, shrubs, flowers, vegetables, and grass. All of our augers are hand-welded and made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated.
Pharmaceuticals essential oils are high grade, very pure, and high in quality. They have synergized blends made with the finest raw materials. For more information and to order, visit Pharmaceuticals.com.
Take the pain out of planting with the Pro Plugger 5-in-1 planting tool. Step, twist, pull, and you're ready to plant. Digs perfect size planting holes. Soil gets stored in the tube and empties from the top. Helpful for weeding. ProPlugger.com. Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com. Spending time scrubbing pesky dirt off your hands after gardening? Use Workman's Friend Superior Skin Cream with added barrier protection, creating a protective layer on your skin surface, allowing for easy cleanup, all while moisturizing and healing your skin. Non-greasy, fragrant-free, and fast-absorbing. Apply first, get to work, wipe clean. This friend has you covered for whatever you're getting into. Visit workmansfriendbrand.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Clyde's Vegetable Planting Chart, Pharmaceutical, Dr. Earth, Flame Engineering, Handy Safety Knife, Hydrobox, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, M.I. Gardener, Outpost Natural Food Co-op, Rootmaker, Soil Diva, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Fall's a great time to visit Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center for all of your fall needs. They have fall bulbs, fall mums, pumpkins, and fall decor, corn stalks. Plus, they have the 40 varieties of bulk material, the largest in the area, from wood chips to gravel to sand to compost to finish up your landscaping needs for the year. You can find all of this at Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center at 4930 West Loomis Road, just south of Layton. You can call them at 414-282-4220 and visit them online at bluemills.com. If you take care of your tools, the tools will take care of you and your garden. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com. Maintenance on your garden tools are good no matter what time of the year it is, but as the garden is shutting down and winter is near, taking care of those tools now will allow you to have them ready for spring. Whether cultivators, hand trowels, garden forks, or shovels, or rakes for that matter, simple maintenance on these tools will prolong the life of them for a very long time. Some tools are wooden handles, and left out, they will rot very quickly. They have tools now that are plastic handles or carbon fiber handles, which are more durable. The head of the tool, the trowel, the metal portion of it, you want to make sure you clean it with a metal wire stiff brush to remove all the dirt residue off of it. And then you can spray it down with a natural oil or a organic cooking oil. You want to avoid using motor oil or synthetic oils, as if you're organic, you're wanting to avoid putting those in the garden. Now, there are such small traces that you would apply to your garden tool. There may not be much to any damage done to the soil, but you want to keep it simple. You want to keep it organic. Let's keep it simple on here. Keeping them up off the ground is also a great way to keep them from getting damaged. You can sharpen your shovels. Also, keeping them in sand and lubricated after spraying them with oil will keep them from rusting over the winter. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Holly, let's go to the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard Hotline and bring in our guest for the week.
Yeah, Teri Chace is a writer and editor with a broad range of expertise and interests. She has a taste for exploration and a talent for bringing back stories and information that resonate with insight and wonder, whether she's examining flowers, pie, or small-town life. Welcome to the program, Teri.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join Holly, myself, and all of our listeners, not only to enlighten us, but educate all of us with your garden knowledge.
I guess we're not going to talk about pie then.
No, we're going to bypass that.
Okay.
As someone who encourages others to plant trees, what are some good tree planting tips, but also tips on how to pick the appropriate tree to plant?
Well, first thing I want to say is this is not the best time of year to plant a tree. But there's been new information on tree planting in recent years, and the conventional wisdom is to dig a wide hole, not a deep hole, because tree roots spread outward. So it's been past misconception. You have to dig a nice deep hole and fill it with compost. You actually shouldn't do that either. You shouldn't fill it with compost. You should use the native soil, because the tree will not leave the hole that you filled with compost if you fill it with compost. It has to be able to spread out as much as it can. So 2 things: wide hole, not deep, and fill it with the native soil.
Well, let's talk about staking, because everybody seems to want to stake these trees down like they're a radio tower, and they don't want these things to blow away, but that's really not recommended either.
It's not recommended because then the tree becomes dependent on it.
And then if we was to stake the tree, and let's talk about mulching too. If we stake the tree, what is the proper way in which to stake a tree? And then is mulch required or recommended for the base around the tree?
Okay, question number 1 about staking. First of all, I wouldn't stake a little tree at all unless you're in a very windy spot. But if you are going to stake it, the important thing is that the way you tie it to the stakes, whether you're using guy wires or rope or whatever, it should not abrade the bark. It should be something soft. I mean, I've even used T-shirt fabric.
And then about 6 months or so is about the time length you want to remove that, or what's the indication?
Well, I don't even recommend staking at all,
right,
as I said, But if you do, you want to remove it after its first season so that it can really grow on its own 2 feet, so to speak.
Well, let's talk about the mulch. We've heard the term volcanic mulch, and we know that that's not a good thing at all when they mulch all the way up 2 foot up the stem or the trunk.
Oh my God, I hate that.
and we have.
I don't know where that came into fashion.
No, and cities and municipalities do this. Not everybody does it, but these people are supposed to know what they're doing. They mulch the stuff up the stalk or the trunk, and it actually is detrimental to the tree.
Right, and it also, they don't plant the tree deeply enough. I mean, the tree should be planted at ground level, not up on a little hill, which exposes its root system to cold weather, or damage, people walking on it, or dogs, or whatever, So look at the way a tree grows in nature and how they prosper. You want to kind of imitate that.
Yeah, it's just a couple of simple, a few minutes. Just if you're uncertain, look it up, and you can save everybody a whole lot of hassle because you've done the job right the first time.
Amen, brother. Also, I want to say about mulch, because I didn't answer that. Yes. Mulch is always a good idea. It's never a bad idea. It keeps weeds down. It holds in soil moisture. It's a good thing. I would just caution people never to buy that red dyed mulch, because then the red dye leaches into the soil.
And
that's definitely good to know.
Yeah, and with your experience, is pretty much any dyed mulch not good, or is it just specific colors with that toxicity?
I wouldn't do it at all. I just wouldn't. It doesn't look natural, and yes, there is the risk of the dye causing harm to the plant.
Okay, definitely good to know. Now, a lot of people don't know when to fertilize their vegetable garden. When is the best time to fertilize your vegetable garden?
Not right now, not in the fall, because, it'll just be gone by spring. Fall is the time to clean up your vegetable garden and take everything out of it. Don't leave any plant parts in there to, rot and harbor pests and diseases. Just do a good cleanup. But the time to fertilize is in the spring. And I'm not much for fertilizing a vegetable garden. I think it's better to just build up the soil to be organically rich.
Well, but
if you were going to, it would be in the spring. Yeah.
We have this question coming a lot, and we've answered the best way we know how. People have invasive species in their yard. One being here in southeast Wisconsin is called creeping Charlie. What is the best? What is your suggestions on how to get rid of these invasive species, preferably without using harmful chemicals? Do you have any tips for us and our listeners?
I have many, many tips. I wrote a whole book about this. It's called How to Eradicate Invasive Plants. I wanted to call the book something, more fun, like The War of the Weeds. And I told my publisher I didn't want to mention chemicals at all, and they said, you really have to talk about Roundup. So I talk about all the other things you can do to fight creeping Charlie and other invasive plants, and Roundup as an absolute last resort. The reason I say Roundup is an absolute last resort is because it's a very controversial chemical, and current research is showing it lingers in the soil and harms soil microorganisms, and it gets into the water and harms other creatures too. So let's not use Roundup if we can avoid it. There are many alternatives. If you're going to fight invasive plants, the first thing I would suggest doing is finding out exactly what you're dealing with. In other words, know thy enemy. Look up the plant, get the proper ID. And then this is the same thing generals do when they're going to war. They study their enemy and the enemy's habit. We're going to war here, friends. So my advice with invasive plants is first get a firm ID on what it is, and then look it up in my book or another book and find out how it reproduces, because obviously the first order of business is to keep it from spreading. Yeah. And then there are many, many non-toxic things you can do to fight invasive plants, from pulling them up to smothering them to harming them with things that are not as harmful as Roundup.
Now, we've heard the term solarization. Is that a means that is fairly effective in killing these invasive plants that are in our yard or even our garden?
Yes, it works for some things. Solarization is a technique whereby you dig everything out, getting as much of the root systems as you can. You probably know the hard way, a lot of us do, that when you dig out a weed or another plant that you don't want, if you leave even a little bit of root system in there, it can regenerate. I mean, one definition of a weed or invasive plant is a very successful plant. Anyway, so then after you've got it out of there and disposed of all the weeds that you could get rid of, then you cover over the area with clear plastic and anchor down the sides. And what happens is, I wouldn't do that this time of year, I'd do it in the spring or summer, but the hot sunshine kind of bakes what's underneath.
Now, you say clear plastic. I have heard recommendations, and you correct me because that's why we have you on the show. I've heard black plastic also works. Is one better than the other, or reasons being clear?
It's worth trying either or. If you have a place in hot, direct sun, clear plastic is probably worth trying first, just because it's really going to get baked. But if you have a place that's part sun, part shade, or you don't have any clear plastic, I mean, for clear plastic, I've even used old shower curtains, But green plastic, black plastic is fine too. Just be sure to use the heavy-duty stuff and to anchor down the sides real well so that the wind doesn't blow it up. I put rocks all over it.
Right, you want to seal this thing down because you don't want the air or the heat to evaporate. That's what your tool is.
Right.
Is the heat.
For example, just a personal thing. I have a front bed out in front of my house that had a very irritating plant called Bishop's goutweed. It comes in green leaves or in variegated ones. You may know this thing. It's really hard to get rid of. And I dug it out to a depth of 6 inches. And then I covered it with black plastic and anchored it down with rocks. And I've left it there for 3 years. It's so hard. I'm so impatient. I want to get in there and put in good new soil and desirable plants, but I just want to be totally sure that the stuff underneath is good and dead.
And that's the key, digging it out, and this is what we tell gardeners, why you may have so many weeds is because you till and then you cut those root divisions up, and all those root divisions now propagate into more weeds, and now you've got a nice forest of weeds.
Or if you till, you bring weed seeds to the surface, it's astounding. I mean, there's some weeds that they can remain dormant in the soil for decades. It's kind of scary. I wanted to mention too, Joey, this is really important when you're fighting weeds and you're pulling them out. Here again, don't do what I did. So I was pulling out the aforementioned Bishop Scoutweed in handfuls by the roots. I was being really careful to get as much of the roots as I could. And then I flung it over the other side of the driveway into the ditch, which was incredibly stupid because guess what? Next spring, there was a new colony. Yeah. So I want to say to anybody fighting weeds, don't put them in the compost. The compost pile might not get hot enough to kill the plants. They might just, take over your growing in your compost happily. Throw them in the garbage. Send them away with the municipal garbage. In some communities, there's a thing called a green bin. I don't know if you have that out there. A green bin is for putting organic waste out to the curb. But don't even put your weeds in there because what the municipality does when they take the green bin, the organic waste away, is they put it in a municipal compost pile. Then one of your neighbors comes down there to get some compost, and you just move the problem around. So literally put weeds in the garbage.
Same thing with diseased plants, too. Get rid of them. Don't compost them, yeah.
Yeah, no, don't. I mean, it seems like a little bit of extra work, but not if you have the hefty trash bags right out there by where you're working. If you have a plant like Bishop Scoutweed or Creeping Charlie that is taking over a flower bed, and it's really hot, you don't want to kill the good things. You only want to kill the pest plant. It's a little bit harder. I mean, sometimes what people have had to do is dig out the daylilies by the roots and move them to another part of the yard temporarily and then just assault the whole entire area and get all the Creeping Charlie or Bishop Scoutweed or whatever out of there and start over. It takes patience, but, there's a lot of things that can work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we really have enjoyed you on the show. How and where can we find out more about you?
Well, you can look me up on Amazon, where my books are for sale, including the one about invasive plants and some other ones. I'm under Teri Chace. That's Teri with one R and Chace with two C's, CHACE. Or you can go to my website, which has a lot of information, and that's TeriChaceWriter.com.
Well, I want to address your in your book, Seeing Seeds: A Journey into the World of Seedhead Pods and Fruit. You talk about all types of plants and their seeds. What is a fun surprise or fact about seeds that you learned while doing research on that book?
Oh, I love that book. It's such a beautiful book. You wouldn't think that seeds could be so beautiful, but the photographer did some remarkable work. When you go through that book, it just takes your breath away. The photography is so beautiful. And he took a really good picture of an acorn, and so, of course, I had to write about acorns, and this was my favorite story. So, and I was thinking about this this very day when I was out walking my dog before I got on the phone with you guys. A lot of oak trees are dropping their acorns all over the sidewalks right now, and it made me think. Now, squirrels are gathering up acorns, as they do every fall, and they make little stashes of them here and there, and I found one once in the park. It was about 24 acorns, kind of in a little hollow. And that's because the squirrels want to come back later and eat them, right? But really what they're doing is they're planting them. And why don't they sprout, I wondered. You mean, an acorn isn't really a seed, literally. What it has is it has some meal around it, to nourish the embryo deep inside. So this is what I learned about acorns that is so interesting. So the embryo is in the seed, is inside the acorn, and the squirrel's gathering it up and planting it. Well, they don't want it to sprout either because then the developing embryo sucks up all those resources and you don't have anything good to eat if you're the squirrel. So squirrels bite off the end of the acorn, not every single one. Now, you take a close look at one of their stashes, you'll see some of the ends are bitten off. What they're trying to do is bite off the end with the embryo, so then the acorn will just never sprout, okay? But what's so interesting is over I don't know what I want to say, geologic time, over centuries, some oak trees have responded to the squirrels doing this by scooting their embryo further back inside the acorn.
Huh.
Isn't that bizarre? All these things are going on out there in the world that we aren't really aware of. You walk down the sidewalk and step on the acorns or watch the squirrels gathering them, but it's really a dynamic situation.
Sometimes
really
nature can take care of itself whenever other things has tried to prevent it from occurring.
Right.
Well, Teri,
so some will sprout and some will not.
Well, Teri, we greatly appreciate the time you've given us on the program, and sharing your knowledge with not only Holly and myself, but all of our listeners.
Well, thank you for having me. That was a quick tour of all kinds of interesting things, but if you want to learn more, by all means, take a look at my books. And you can also reach me through my website if you have any questions.
Absolutely. Well, Teri, thank you very much. And when we come back, it's all going to be about your garden questions and our garden answers. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Send your questions in now to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Instant Access text hotline at 414-368-9311. That number again, text 414-368-9311 and send your garden question in.
Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice, a health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
The Handy Safety Knife is a patented high-quality knife that's worn like a ring, so it's always conveniently at hand and very easy and efficient to work with. That's why you'll find the Handy Safety Knife at work in a wide range of industries and applications. Learn more at handysafetyknife.com.
Use coupon code WVG to get 10% off and free shipping, one-time use only at handysafetyknife.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar, honey, or any alternative sweetener you'd like. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Available at most natural food stores and online.
Do you seek safe, effective nutrition solutions to boost your health and quality of life? Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer with 90 years of expertise. Our third-generation family-owned company proudly grows nutrient-rich ingredients at our certified organic farm in Palmyra, Wisconsin, enabling us to produce high-quality whole food solutions that change lives. For help identifying the best supplements for you, find a local healthcare professional today at standardprocess.com/patients.
Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com. Use coupon code WVG19 to get free shipping. The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on roses, fruit, and nut trees, ornamental trees and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, you can visit ivorganics.com. You can send us an email through the IV Organics 301 plant email inbox. That email address is twvgshow@gmail.com. You can also send us a text on the Instant Access IV Organic 301 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline. Send your questions to 414-368-9311. That text number is 414-368-9311.
Had several questions come in this week. One in regards to canning and the storage of the canned goods, Holly. I heard you say that you should remove the rings. Why? Then was that to protect the bottom of the bottle of the air, protect the jar from getting air in it, or when I can the beets? Why should you remove the rings and when?
Sure. So the lid is actually creating the seal. So you put the lid on.
That's the flat portion.
That's the flat portion. Okay. You put the ring on, and then that's how the canning happens. If your jars are properly sealed, removing the ring would have no effect on the air getting in. You want to remove the ring for the best safe storage. So as we know, we're putting basically pressurized food into a jar, or it's not pressurized food, but
vacuumed.
It's a vacuum sealed.
In a shelf stable.
Shelf stable, yep. So if something funky happens in that jar, say that if you're doing like tomatoes or something, the acid causes a reaction, that jar could burst open if you had the ring on, or it could cause the lid to pop off. And I would rather have a lid pop off versus a jar burst open in my storage.
Or the jar reseals itself with that.
And then you have something funky.
Right.
And yeah. So, and then you're on the wrong side of the dirt. So that is something that you definitely want to consider when you store your jars, is to take the rings off. We had it happen. We found, was it salsa? No, pasta sauce.
Pasta sauce, and then also some tomato juice. Both
right. Where we went to go pick it up or whatever, and the lid was loose. Yeah. So we saved ourselves essentially.
Speaking, you're right. Speaking of lemon juice versus an acid, lemon juice versus lime juice. In the recipe for canning whole tomatoes, it recommends lemon juice, bottled lemon juice. I do not have any. Is it okay to use lime juice as a substitute?
No. So you want to use bottled lemon juice because the acidity of that bottled lemon juice is going to be consistent throughout. Lime juice is great for a lot of things, but not for canning.
Well, as we've talked about, and you've stressed this very heavily on the program, do not substitute one item for another when it comes to a canning procedure, because that will disrupt the scientific, the science behind the whole deal.
Right.
So that's that on that deal. So yeah, follow the recipe and do as the recipe states whenever you're going to do any type of canning. Next question. I grew Jerusalem artichokes for the first time this year. 1, how do I know when it's time to harvest them? And what suggestions do you have for storage and uses for them? Well, Jerusalem artichokes is a perennial that will come back year after year. They can be invasive, so you kind of want to be careful where you put them at in your yard. They are less starchy than a potato, have an earthy taste to them, and there's many different things you can do with a Jerusalem artichoke. They're not that prevalent in the grocery stores because of their very, very short shelf life. Now, you'll know when to harvest them because they need about 150 days of full sun. The top growth will die back, typically with the first frost. Then you can go ahead and dig them up and use them basically whatever way you have used a potato. Now, the best way to store these is to keep them in the ground. If you dig them up and set them on your counter for a day, they will shrivel up faster than you know what to do. So you can put them in an airtight bag and put it in the crisper of your fridge. You will get some longevity out of them that way. That only lasts about 2 weeks. So you can store them in a cool garage, a shed, the steps to an attic, in dirt. So you dig them out of the ground of your garden, put a layer of dirt in a 5-gallon bucket, about 1 inch, put a layer of the Jerusalem artichokes, put another layer of soil until they cover the previous layer of Jerusalem artichokes, and progressively work your way up to the bucket is full. Then you can dig out the ones you need as you need them in your garage, in your shed, in the stairs, or in the attic where it's unclimatized and they can get very cold but not freeze. You can use these in, you can make them into hash browns. You can eat them raw. You can also put them in a slow cooker, and they melt just like butter whenever you eat them. They're very, very tasty. A typical plant will produce between 3 and 5 pounds on average. They will grow in poor soil to moderate soil to rich soil, so they're very versatile. The plants themselves can get up to 15 feet tall. Ours in our garden typically get about 8 to 10 feet tall, and they come back year after year. And they can be as large as your hand as one root system, one tuber essentially, or they can be as small as marbles. So it's based on the conditions, and we grow a white variety. There's a magenta or a burgundy color variety of Jerusalem artichokes as well. So Jerusalem artichokes, if you've not grown them, get them in the spring, plant them, and then you can also do in containers, raised beds, or traditional ground. They're a very unique crop that's very beneficial for you and tasty. Before we get into what's coming up next week on the program, Holly, remind them about the executive sponsor.
The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is Power Planter. Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA, we offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Coming up on the program next week, do not miss the program. Most people think pumpkins have some association with Halloween, but we'll go over the real history and the background of pumpkins. It's quite a fascinating story. And building your soil for spring so you have a successful garden next year. And author Luke Reigenberg will be with us. Plus, your garden questions. That's all next week. Tell your friends and family to tune in to the program. Miss any portion of this program or want to revisit it in its entirety, you can do that in a couple of different ways. One, by going to your favorite podcast providing website and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. You can also go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, clicking on the radio tab at the top of the page for full length, or the highlight tab on the right-hand side for segments of all past shows. Until next week, for Holly Baird, I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
You have been listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Tell a friend and join Joey and Holly again next week so we can all grow together. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is a production of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in association with WI Garden Media broadcast live from the WNOV 860 AM and the W293CX 106.5 FM. Courier Communication Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.